Welcome to this explainer. So today we're diving into a massive business headache that I'm sure we all know way too well. Basically, why finally hiring a technical expert is really just the starting line of your journey, not the finish line. We're going to unpack this whole concept using some incredibly fascinating insights from the Expert on Hire framework. If you have ever felt like your company's hiring process is just this huge, exhausting effort that somehow doesn't translate into the actual results you expected, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to map out exactly where things break down and, more importantly, how we can actually fix them. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The real goal of hiring. Beyond the offer letter.
All right, so what actually happens after that expert joins your team? A technical professional might show up on day one with an absolutely flawless resume. I mean, we're talking the right skills, the right experience, literally all the perfect qualifications. But does that automatically mean they're going to execute? Will they actually drive productivity or spark any real innovation? Are they truly creating customer value and measurable business outcomes for you? Asking this kind of provocative question really forces us to pause for a second. It makes you realize that, hey, just possessing a skill and actually being able to apply it effectively within your specific company's ecosystem, those are two totally different things.
And that brings us to a pretty massive shift in mindset. See, the traditional objective is completely transactional. It's just, hey, we hired someone. You had an empty seat, now there's a warm body sitting in it. Check the box, right? But the true strategic objective should really be, we added capability that creates value. It totally flips the focus from just, acquiring a physical resource to actually deploying a solution. If your hiring process stops dead at we hired someone, I guarantee you are leaving an immense amount of value on the table.
Section 2. The talent to impact gap. Identifying the void. So let's put a name to this void. We call it the talent to impact gap. Formally, it's the disconnect between a professional's technical skills and their actual ability to translate those capabilities into measurable business outcomes, like customer value or innovation. This gap is the literal operational black hole where organizations just struggle. It's where project momentum goes to die and where businesses fail to see any real ROI on their highly paid talent. Seriously, finding a brilliant coder or an amazing engineer doesn't help you at all if they can't integrate their brilliance into your company's actual goals. Section 3. Journey to Business Impact. The 5 stages of value. Okay, let's walk through how this actually plays out chronologically across 5 stages. It starts with stage 1, talent, actually finding the right professional. But you absolutely cannot stop there. You have to move to stage 2, capability. That's where you validate what they can actually do in practice. Then we hit stage 3, integration. This is all about connecting this expert to your business, your specific team, and your unique tech stack. Only then do you reach stage 4, execution, where that technical capability finally turns into actual work and delivery. And then finally, stage 5, impact. This whole logical progression proves that finding a professional is literally just step 1. You've got to guide that talent through connection and actual work to eventually create that measurable business value. So how do we systematically build a bridge across that massive gap? Well, ExpertOnHire uses some really targeted interventions to make it happen. They use AI-assisted talent matching to ensure true relevance. They don't just take a shiny resume at face value either. They provide verified technical experts through portfolio-based candidate evaluation and practical skill validation. And they use structured technical assessments so that when you finally make a hiring decision, it is deeply, deeply informed. Basically, you're no longer just blindly discovering talent. You are engaging in true capability-driven hiring. Now, here's a crucial takeaway. The requirement determines the capability. You can't just toss a generic job title at a wall and hope it sticks. If your goal is to transform raw business data into actual actionable insights, you don't just need, an IT guy. You specifically need a data scientist. If you need to speed up deployment, you need a DevOps professional. Hiring absolutely has to start with your specific business requirement because that requirement defines the exact capability you need to go out and source. But okay, let's say you've done it. You've found that perfect match. The expert is in the building. To ensure that expertise actually generates value, you have to create the right environment for them. It's kind of like buying $1 million high-performance sports car. It is not going to win any races if you don't put gas in it, right? Successful integration requires clear responsibilities and incredibly defined project objectives. If the expert doesn't know what the target is, how on earth are they supposed to hit it? They need access to required resources, effective team collaboration, and real technical alignment. The responsibility of bridging that gap doesn't just fall on the new hire, the organization itself has to provide this supportive ecosystem for execution to even be possible.
Section 4, startups versus enterprise needs, scaling the solution.
It is super fascinating to contrast these two totally different worlds. On one side, we have startup needs. They are operating with limited resources, tiny teams, super aggressive deadlines, and requirements that change literally overnight. For them, a single technical expert can absolutely make or break their progress. Their ultimate need? Speed and survival. They just need to execute faster to grow. On the flip side, we have enterprise needs. They're dealing with expansion across multiple teams, hugely complex projects, and a desperate need for structured talent acquisition. Their ultimate need is finding the right capability across multiple complex projects to achieve scale and innovation. So, regardless of the size, both absolutely need to bridge the gap, but the stakes and the sheer scale of the solution look quite different. Section 5. Talent is just the beginning, the final outcome. Look at how this entire chain of positive outcomes links together. It all starts with the right talent, right? Which then unlocks the right capability. You take that and apply it to the right project, which drives the right execution, and boom, you finally land at the right business outcome. This beautifully illustrates that a successful hiring decision is definitely not a single transactional event that just ends on day one. It's a continuous, linked journey toward real, measurable business growth. And honestly, if any single one of these links breaks, the entire final outcome is compromised. I want to leave you with a really powerful thought that perfectly sums this all up. Quote, "The real goal is the impact that expert creates." Just take a second and let that sink in. It perfectly encapsulates the entire ExpertOnHire philosophy. You aren't buying a piece of paper. You aren't buying a resume. You are investing in potential impact. If the impact isn't there, the hire just wasn't successful. Literally, no matter how impressive their background looks on LinkedIn.
Which brings us to our final takeaway from this explainer. ExpertOnHire. Smooth hiring, no noise. Find talent, build capability, create impact. So I've got to ask you, looking at your own organization today, does your hiring process actually create measurable business impact, or is it just creating a whole lot of noise? Are you just filling empty seats, or are you truly building capability? I really hope exploring this framework has left you excited to completely rethink your talent strategy. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.